a couple seconds. Yeah, here we go.
All
Hey,
right.
welcome to another episode of Beyond the Algorithm. I am your host, Victor Vincian, and today I have the lovely Tiffany Galloway. So, we are going to get to know her on a content level, a production level. She got a lot of good information that she wants to impart. She's all about the women. She's all about coaching, mentoring, and counseling. But her resume too long. It's easier for me to let her talk. So I'm gonna go ahead and give you the floor.
Hello, everybody. If this is your first time seeing me, I want to thank you so much for even welcoming me into your field. I am Tiffany, formerly Tiffany Langford, now Tiffany Galloway. I am the author of Mother by Survival. Also, I have a course called Feminine but Firm, Setting Boundaries Like a Lady, helping women learn to feel safe before they can be feminine, soft, or anything else. My whole goal is women's safety. So, in order for us to get safety, we have to unpack a few things, and that is my specialty. So, I'm really looking forward to spending this time with you. If you have questions, if you need to contact me, I'm certain that all of my info will be at the end somewhere. Please reach out. I'd love to hear from you.
All right, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. So love to get started, and I wanna. I like to run my show in a certain type of way to kind of like give the audience time to catch up and come on in. So we're gonna watch a couple of reaction videos and then we're gonna run our mouths about them because we see the same thing everywhere we go, right? And that's kind of the things that connects us. So you
Yeah.
familiar with Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, the alleged?
I am, but I have not seen this clip and I have had it sent to me so many times. So let's watch it together.
All right, let's go.
On with you. This is about you. You done flipped the script on us. We over here.
Reverse Uno.
Man, you sure did. I didn't,
But it was good. It was
No,
insightful.
but we're like, no, we need to find out about what's going on with her. She dating,
am
single. What
dating.
what do that entail for a 42-year-old?
I am dating,
Dating but single.
enjoying my life. I have really good companions.
How many do you dating right now?
I'm not exclusively committed to anyone, but I have one guy that I have
Yeah,
dated
she's
off
stuttering
and
now.
on
We
for
got
5
her.
years.
Got her.
We dated for
Yeah.
5 years off and
So
on.
you was his work for 5 years? You been his work? You still his work?
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
yeah. I know what's going on now. I'm about to, yeah. No, we gonna take this sheep clothing off.
I right, the wolf teeth coming out. No, we
He
have
was somebody's work for 5 years.
we have been each other's companion for 5 years, and yeah, I have spent the block for 5 years, and it's the truth. And
Yeah.
You look like you got something to say about what you got to say about that.
5 years is an incredibly long time. And, not everybody likes to rush into a relationship. But when I'm thinking about 5 years as a woman, if I'm expected to show up as soft and feminine and all these different things, I need protection. And I am not going to be performatively soft. So I think about all of the things that a good husband does for you and the covering and just everything. Not that you aren't complete by yourself, because we're not talking about a man completing you, but the safety and the softness and just the way that you're able to relax versus when you're single. It's much different. So when I think about being in that desert for 5 years, it's like shit. Excuse my language.
No, you
Letting,
can say it. This is
letting
it.
a man rent me for 5 years because I'm having sex with him, I'm sleeping with him, I'm not necessarily running my body count up, but I'm definitely putting miles on the machinery. And there is no clear protection there for me. And I take issue with that. Like I'm not shaming anybody for having sex with who they want, but I want you to be able to get something out of it. And it's something tangible, not just saying we were each other's companions, because that sounds like Lassie. I got a dog to my companion. You know what I mean? And it's just a little different. A companion will do what you say.
Right. Oh, yeah.
The husband that she actually wants will not.
Ooh.
And that's why she's sticking with a companion.
Yeah.
Because she needs somebody malleable. And, certain women just need malleable partners. And I'm going to leave it at that.
But what the hell, boy?
Absolutely correct. He feels like I haven't provided.
Oh, your work.
We working together. We working together.
But you keeping him at bay. Or is he keeping you at bay?
He wants a relationship. He wants to be committed.
You just like the sex.
No.
Oh,
Let's keep it 100. How you keep somebody for 5 years? That's like for real. You can't keep nobody at a distance for 5 years. I ain't never done no shit like that.
I am not vitamin D deficient,
No,
everything is good in that department.
No.
He wants a relationship.
She done kept him on the side until she figured out if it's something better. I see where this is going.
He just has some emotional maturity that he had to do. We're 9 years apart. He's 9 years younger than me, and so we both had to work through things. But he's had to work on his emotions and his intense insecurities around.
Come on, you got something to say? I see it.
Because women who do this trouble me. He has some emotional maturity issue. He's 9 years younger than you, baby. What were you expecting?
He's not mature.
He's not gonna be. If she's 45 and he's 9 years under her, that will put him at what, 36?
Yep.
Come on. And I am of the ilk that if a woman is choosing this kind of man, she's choosing him so she does not have to submit. And we're going to have this conversation if we're, because we could want it all day long, but are you truly qualified for it? Are you qualified for the man that you want? No. Okay, so rent one. And that's what she's doing. And a lot of women find, or they think that this is safer than actually doing the work on themselves, handling their triggers, learning how to emotionally regulate, so that they can be in the relationship with the man that they will respect instead of stringing along a 9-year age gap relationship, talking about we're companions. She wants someone malleable, just like I just said. I didn't know that there was a 9-year age gap, but what she's doing is not surprising. It's just like women who will go and choose a man who's doing less than them financially, emotionally, spiritually, physically. Pick it. And say, oh, I can't submit to him because he's not right. But you knew that he wasn't right when you picked him because you felt it was safer. He's not going to be expecting me to submit because I'm smarter than him. This is where most women find themselves because they don't want to do the emotional work. So, this is a hill that I'm willing to die on because I have been the woman who chose the wrong man and who complained about the man that I picked. Oh, he just terrible. All he want to do is be in the streets. Where you meet him at, Tiff? In the streets.
How'd you think this was going to go?
Right. I mean, but when I look back over my own track record, let's take it off of Dr. Cheyenne because I don't want it to seem like I'm just like dogpiling on her. If I look back on my own life and I take a look at it with accountability, and say, damn, Tiff, how did you wind up in a relationship you wound up in? It's because I was overlooking red flags. I was hoping that the wildest, roughest, no home training. But I wanted him to choose me so that I could feel special because I had never been chosen by my father and I had never been chosen by my mother. So I thought if I could make him choose me, it will make me feel worthwhile. And a lot of women are sitting with that and they don't know how to find the words of saying that. I just wanted to be chosen. I know if I could convert him and make him a believer, that means my worth must be. But validation is for parking, baby. It's not for people. And if you give a man the ability to punch your card, then you give him the ability to snatch the plate off the table and starve you. So that's why you have to be emotionally regulated.
You said validate. Say that validation line again.
Validation is for parking. It's not for.
Come on, man.
It's not for people. And when we find ourselves in a space where it's like, damn, am I holding on to this relationship so that I can validate myself and say, yes, somebody finally chose me and I'm finally worthy? Or can I let this go? Because I'm going to find somebody who's more in alignment with me, because that's what we all deserve, aligned relationships. It should not have to be he's your work or he's my work. We should just be compatible.
I agree with that. Put a pin in validation, because I want you to talk about that. As part of today's conversation too, because that's very important.
In a
And
relationship.
you've been waiting on it. Like what's the problem? Why y'all not together?
Just because of that,
So you waiting on that?
No, I'm not waiting on it, and I don't have him waiting.
So the D is good.
Oh,
Let's keep it. I mean, that's it's like, dude. Let's
he
let's
put
keep it
on
100.
his red pajamas and feel like he's supposed to get spicy tonight.
This is clear.
Oh my God!
I know her. She from Long Beach.
I'm
Don't try to come
You
with
have a problem.
the suit jacket,
Yeah,
the
man,
boots. You still and the glow.
You know what I mean?
You still from Long
Yeah,
Beach.
I'm
Not from Inglewood. I can see that.
I am from San Pedro, a small
Man,
community
nah,
in the
same
city of
thing.
Los Angeles.
I
Okay.
can see through all of that.
Yes, he has great qualities. He does well in all that he does with me. He just
That ain't what
emotionally
I asked you.
is.
I asked you about his job and all that.
He does well in all areas.
What's
Okay, she
going on?
answered that. He
No,
does
she
well
didn't.
in
No,
all
she
areas.
Emotionally,
No, she
I know
didn't.
that's broad.
She did not answer that.
Because not answering allows her. He does well in all areas. Yes, but you with him because the dick is good.
Yep, come on, tell the truth. Tell the
You with
truth.
him. That 9-year age gap, he probably tearing that thing out the frame. He emotionally dysregulated too. He crazy, deranged. We already know. I mean, it goes both ways. If you know how men always say the crazy pee is the best pee, so they chase crazy women down, and a woman then killed his cat and bleached his clothes, but he can't leave her alone, right? This is the same thing. That young, enthusiastic, he not expecting nothing of me. I'm emotionally safe because he's not going to take me off of the square. As a matter of fact, I could be the one motivating him.
Right.
They love that. They love a project.
Earlier you said he's malleable.
Yeah.
I like how the way you broke that down, because that is the very projection that women make about older men pursuing younger women. And she's doing the same thing in this particular moment. It would be the same.
And for the same reason.
And for the same
reason too. So you could be mad at the man at the bar pulling the 26, 27-year-olds. In my marriage, there is an age gap.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to hold you up. And it's definitely more than a decade because, I have my own reasons for that. I don't want no puppy. Okay. So I want a big dog. And I can't deal with children. Plus, I enjoy being the woman in my relationship, and I enjoy being able to pick your brain, and I don't want to have to lead from the bottom, which is what a lot of these women subsequently wind up having to do, where they look feminine and they say my husband is head of household, but they're leading from the bottom because they don't trust him. And they'll do it so they don't have to trust him. Trust is scary when you've never had anyone to lean on.
Yeah.
And he's valuable because he was probably raised by a strong-minded, independent, don't need no man, I can raise myself by myself kind of woman. He's in that age range. I'm 39. So I know what age range he's in. He was raised by the same people who raised, me. And I know that their ideas carried over. If the boy wasn't in touch with his soft, sensitive side, he was a brute and there was something wrong with him. You had to beat it out of him. I've seen that happen. So what these women are doing is they're going to the pre-broken men because their mothers broke them in advance, like a perforated piece of paper, easy to tear. And this is why. And then they say, oh my God, it's so flimsy. It comes apart so fast. It was perforated when you picked it up. You knew that it was already pre-ripped, and you're working with it like it's cardboard. You're surprised? Are we shocked? No. And if we took a step back from it, not placing blame, if we took a step back from it and logically said, I want a man to lead my household, are you picking a man who's 9 years younger than you? Admittedly, in your professional opinion, who is emotionally immature, and you know how dangerous that can be, but you stick with it anyway. Are you picking that when you know better?
I've said everything that you just said. I've said it in so many different conversations, even before our first conversation. We talked for like an hour and a half to try to figure out the direction of things that we were going to go, and even then we were confirming what we've already seen.
Right.
And do you think that women that choose those type of men know exactly what they're choosing, or do you think that they're just kind of bound and don't have an idea?
Oh, I think they're trying to stay safe. I think that when people are trying to stay safe, they will rationalize doing the craziest shit. I mean, insane things, right? Because fear is not one of those rational things. It's really fearing the unknown. You don't know what's going on.
Gotcha.
It's false evidence appearing real. That's
Fear.
what fear is, right?
Yep.
So if she thinks that if she get with a man, think about what most women think of submission, right? This will make sense. He gonna beat me. He gonna take my rights. He gonna make me get under the bed. And if I gotta submit to him, then he gonna destroy me in some kind of way. They have these thoughts, and I've heard this so much from women. So if I thought that about the man that I actually want, number one, I'm not gonna go after him. Because I've already told myself that that's dangerous. And an added bonus is that I don't have to change anything. If I'm going to date somebody who's lower than who I actually want, then I can still date with broken equipment. I don't have to evolve. There's no fear there. As a matter of fact, they'll praise me because I'm better than any woman they ever had. So on this hand is the man that I really want to be with, but I don't qualify for him because I'm not healed yet. And I'm going to run him off. So I got to do some work for him. And on this hand, it's the young bull who don't want nothing because he don't know nothing.
And I ain't got to do no work, and I already got it.
No work. I'm the shit to him already. Which would you pick?
Path of least resistance.
You're going to pick the young bull. You're going to pick the path of least resistance. And that is what women are doing. They hurt, but they wounding themselves into singlehood, spinsterhood. You 45 now and you look good now. That's because of your genetics. But what happens when you're 55 and your kidneys are failing? What happens when you're 65 and your kidneys are, you don't have nobody around to drive you back and forth to dialysis? The coochie don't hit like it used to when it's a senior citizen twat. What do we do?
They definitely don't ever, women do talk about the age thing, like they don't get old, like they don't have health problems. I never understood that, but let's go. Let's finish it up.
They don't talk about it a lot. They don't talk about it a lot. Go ahead.
They don't talk about it enough, though.
All questions. What? All
Paul,
areas.
you're a man, so you answer this question.
I answer.
Emotionally, he goes back and forth from, I love you, I want to be with you, I'm mad because you won't be with me, you won't commit to me. And then his insecurities get the best of him, and it's like, I want you, but I'm not sure if I deserve you. I'm not sure that I can facilitate you. I'm not sure that I can be with you. So when I say emotionally instability, it's like him wanting to be with me is concrete. That's not unstable. His emotions in the relationship are just unstable to where, as a man, you gotta get vertical within yourself before you can be in a relationship.
God, you good with these words.
I am.
You good with these words.
You got to get vertical within
People
yourself.
advice.
Let me say this.
Then why did you not let him get vertical before his dick got vertical?
Come on.
Why did you not let him get vertical before you started volunteering coochie? Why? If you knew that, because you're the professional. And I'm a professional life coach. I'm certified.
Right.
There was a time after my certification, after my divorce, where I was out here dating and I could see the mommy issues. I could see the daddy issues. I wasn't getting all on. I wasn't going to say, yeah, well, I guess you're good enough for right now. No, you don't qualify. And that don't make you a bad person. You're probably great for somebody else. You're just not in alignment with me. Next. There was nothing wrong with her doing that. And again, let me touch this because I know you want to finish this clip. But what you just said made absolutely no sense to nobody but her.
Nobody but her.
He's emotionally, he wants to be with me, but he gets emotionally unstable because I don't want to be with him. Let's unpack that, because if you're sleeping with him and playing relationship with him and pretending like you want to be with him, and then you say, oh, no, I don't want to be with you because you still got some work to do. Why are you here? And if a man did that to a woman, he would be a fuckboy
all day.
They would be writing songs about him. Glorilla would have a song about him. But when it's a woman, we overlook that. We overlook the predatory. If you know that he's not right, why are you fucking him? First and foremost. Second of all, he's emotionally unstable because she's playing with his emotions.
Right.
How do you say, I want to be with you, so we're going to do the whole relationship thing. We're enjoying each other. We're good companions. You already know that means fucking, sucking, creeping, sleeping, going on dates, holding hands, being on vacation. It's been 5 years. So you know they've crossed all of these lines. His heart tied into it. So he's crazy because he wants to take it a step further with you in a natural progression. Natural progression is crazy, but fucking an emotionally immature boy isn't. From the doctor.
Come on. Look.
I'm saying.
Yeah, look. And then the part where
not me hating. This is just me asking some very pivotal questions logically. A plus B equals C type shit. This is not deep stuff.
No, it's not. And I especially like the part where she said he's emotionally unstable because she's making him crazy too. She's participating in his delusion, and because she knows that he's not the man that she actually wants, and he'll do for now. So in the meantime, she's just playing with him. Because if that was flipped around, a female would be stabbing on him.
If it was flipped and it was a man who was 9 years older than a woman, and he's entertaining her. He knows she had issues, but he's still entertaining her. We will be looking at him like he's a predator. Oh my God, you know that she's emotionally unstable. Why are you still sleeping with her? Why are you taking advantage of her? You know that she can't make the decisions, but when it's Dr. Brian, it's cool.
Yeah, out of control.
Makes sense.
He has every right to feel like what I've been doing as far as being in a relationship with him when I want to is not something that gives him stability. However, I don't want to commit to a relationship with a man who I feel emotionally is not in a place of being able to be in a healthy relationship.
So why are you messing with him? Why are you playing mental games with him?
I'm not playing mental games with him. It's not mental games. It's all transparency.
Why is it still sex involved?
How do you know we sexing? We could just be having a
Because you from Long Beach, I know.
Oh my God.
You can't play me.
We could not be doing the
wood. I know what's going on.
But let me say this. It is transparent. He understands. I understand. I understand what he wants. He understands why I don't want to commit at this moment with him, which is the emotional piece that him and I talk about openly. I support him in it. I hold space for him in it. We've talked about it intensively, and he understands it.
And he's
Come here.
That's
sit. All right, let him off the leash. Go ahead.
That's what I'm doing?
Yeah, that's exactly.
Come here. I told him what it is. Because I told him what it is. We're transparent, i.e., I told him that I'm never going to ever deal with you while I'm laying up with you and fucking and sucking you. And I'm glad that Paul keep bringing it up. Why are you sexing him then? What you doing? Why not save that? Because you could... Women like sex like men like sex. So why not have sex with a person who's in alignment with you? If you don't feel like he's worthy, why is he worthy of your body? So you can have some coochie, but you can't have my time?
Come on.
Until I tell my girls this, because you and I were talking about, and I coach in my private group. I'm actually live casting, I'm simulcasting in my live group. And I always tell my girls to make better informed decisions with their bodies, because you're going to want to have sex. It is what it is. It's natural. I'm not judging that, because I like sex more than, the average Joe. But I like it more when I know that I'm giving my body to a person that I feel on the same level with, that I'm mutual with.
Right.
But I can't just be like, oh, well, when stuff go wrong, I'm going to feel such deep regret, because you can't unfuck them. No, and until we can send somebody to the door to knock on and say, hey, coochie repo, I'm here to reclaim her goods. And I actually get it back. I think we need to be more selective about who we sleep with, you know, and if he's not the right person, hurry up and move him out the way so you can get you some good, credible dick. I'm not saying be celibate. That's not, I'm no nun. I'm just asking you to give it to the right people so that you make sure your heart is not broken, so you can make sure your feelings are not hurt, so you can make sure that you don't lay with regret just in case it doesn't go right. That's all I'm saying.
Yep, that's one of the things that I address with the men that I coach and that I advise is like we have to practice sexual discipline. You know, just because you can doesn't mean you should give yourself to everybody that shows you any type of sexual attention. And the truth is that's really at the core of most men's problem. Most men will be invisible to the world if they maintain that, you know. Nobody even knows you exist until they can hang you out by your meat. Like you see what they did with Diddy. You see, even in the court of public opinion, when it comes down to like guys like Shannon Sharp and you know, even the entire political space is pivoting off of who's on the Epstein list. Because why were they on the Epstein list? What was it? Going to Epstein Island and doing whatever they was doing. You know what I'm saying? And that's the source that can dismantle any man's credibility. So it's a lot more dangerous than what we think it is. For women psychologically, for men psychologically too, but for different reasons. But like for as far as like reputation destruction, it is self-sabotage. It is self-hate, in my opinion. And I think that we need to get a better control of that because there's too many dangerous and unstable people out here that's already been manipulated by people like her. Mm-hmm. So
if that's what I'm doing,
if you think about it though, just one more thing. If just not to be too hard on the brothers, but if you think about it, she has a 9-year age gap with him.
Help the brothers out. Yeah, help the brothers out. You go ahead.
He wants to be with her.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that she's pulling away is what's making him feel like he isn't worthy. He's not valuable enough. I'm not the person for you. And that is the power dynamic that she was looking for. So with a woman, yeah, we have sex and mentally it messes us up. But men wind up getting trapped with women who they wanted to love like this. And now you're getting embarrassed. And not just embarrassed, but damaged. Because when it comes time for him to meet his woman and the woman is for him, she's going to have to pay for what she's doing. Women create the problems that we see in men, whether we're raising them or whether we on top of them.
What are you doing?
But what the hell, bro?
Yo, what took you so long to get over here? I had to pause for a second because, like, typically we don't get a chance to hear women take that much ownership of what women's behavior really comes from, and well, the equity that it has and that plays into the way men treat and compete, you know, for women.
Right. So this is why I actually focus on being mothered by survival, because the love path, a lot of women don't know that they're doing it. I've met so many women who would say, well, what's wrong with that? Men been doing it for centuries. No, the stereotypical Oprah couch narrative that we've been fed, men have been doing this for centuries. So it justifies bad behavior in our real lives. And we really have to be careful with feeding off of those narratives. Even if you were in a bad relationship with a bad man and a scary man, don't take that forward into your future. Don't take that forward into your forever. You need to learn how to heal and pivot faster. But with this situation, I can see what she's deliberately doing. She wants someone malleable. I've never seen this clip before, so I didn't know that the man was 9 years younger than her. Mm-hmm. I just had people sending it to me like, girl, your home girl back again. Here she is again, you know, because I look at people like her like, okay, you're just a broken clock, you know, right? Twice a day. You might have a few good points, but I don't take anything anyone says as Bible, because we all are able to evolve. But what she's doing is harmful. What she's doing is harmful. Trick culture, harmful.
Yeah.
Harmful. Man. And it's having really far-reaching ramifications with men. And when I ask women, well, how would you feel if that was done to your son?
Yeah, man, put it in that perspective for sure.
And they're like, oh, ain't no bitch gonna ever be able to use my son. And it's like, but you know he's somebody's son.
Yeah.
Okay, I digress.
Yeah. All of us are children, you know what I'm saying? So all of us are somebody's son and somebody's daughter at a minimum, you know. But yeah, this is great stuff, you know what I'm saying, so far.
Man, I'm okay. If I'm doing what Paul said, I'd much rather be the one walking you at the dog park than the one on the leash.
If I am doing.
So that means, to my point, at 42, I'm not opt out. We are not opt out. Okay, we have options, and we are not on the leash. We can actually be the one holding the leash. It's all about your standards. It's all about you understanding who you are and you standing in and on your square and you doubling down on that, period. There's men out there who will show up in any capacity we want. We don't have to settle. And we don't have to settle at a certain time. We can
But he don't want to show up in that
Because I
capacity.
tell you one thing I'm not doing. I ain't doing time, but I am spending a whole lot of time with who I want, when I want, and both of us are enjoying it, getting what we want.
Come on.
Okay.
You getting what you want, he getting what you gave him.
Because he ain't getting what he want.
He definitely, she just said he not getting what he want. He insecure because he not getting what he want. Now they both getting what they want. And I would rather be a predator than be emotionally stable and in a relationship with one man. I would rather put somebody's son who is 9 years my junior on a leash because we got options. We can go and prey on the youth. We don't have to emotionally evolve. Bitch, what? Are the people okay? Because if a man had said that, then I would be like, oh, where are my nieces? Where are my daughter at? Where am I? Because I'm not about the, what you mean? Oh, because I could always put a younger one on the leash and we ain't never out of options.
Crazy.
If Shannon Sharp had came out and said, I could always put another one on the leash.
Whew.
Come on.
The world would have burnt down. It'll still be on fire right now.
Do you know how much I can tell you as a woman who has dated men that I did not respect? It is so much easier to be in love and to be married to and to be long to a man that you respect.
Mm-hmm.
But the man that you respect is going to make you come correct. You can't talk to him any kind of way. You're going to have to come emotionally regulated. You got to sit down and talk about something when it's, bothering you. You got to learn how to advocate for yourself like a big fucking girl, because nobody is coming to put you in your soft life. Soft life is emotional regulation. That is not that man's job. It's
soft
not.
life, man. Look, I like that. Soft life is emotional regulation. I've been talking about, we talked about emotional discipline. I hear emotional regulation, but like anything that deals with stability requires discipline. Anything that deals with improvement requires discipline. There's nothing that you can add discipline to that gets worse.
Right.
Like you could think about it all day, all you want to. And if you can add discipline to something that gets worse, it's probably something you have no business doing anyway.
Well, it's something that's dysregulated.
It's something that's completely dysregulated.
Because if you're trying to give me discipline and you're trying to say you were my employer, because my employer, let's talk about submission for real.
Okay.
If you work, you're submitting to your boss.
Yep.
You went in that place and they said, I'm going to give you this amount of money for this amount of hours, but this is how you're going to show up. And not just that, this is what you're going to wear. This is the conversations you're able to have. This is the stuff you're able to do on the clock. This is what you do with the resources I give you, all the way down to the ink pens. And they say, all right. But they will not submit to a man that they picked. They didn't pick the HR guy that onboarded them. They didn't pick Dan from accounting.
Mm-hmm.
So why is it easier for you to submit there than to submit to a man you chose? And to submit just means to agree. It just means to agree. It just means I agree with the rules you have set for you to show up for me like this. You require this from me. Oh, I get it. Why is this such a bad thing?
All it is cooperation.
It's such a scary thing. Right? Why don't you want to cooperate with a man you like? I thought you liked him.
It doesn't make any sense to me. But what does?
But if the woman is not emotionally regulated, she can't receive the discipline that you want to give her.
Yeah. And
You
that's the
want to
thing.
discipline her, she ain't even regulated enough to get it. It's holes in that cup. So you pouring wisdom into it and it's leaking all over the countertops because she is not emotionally regulated. So how do we get there?
Man, look, I think the only path that gets us there is, in my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anything holds women accountable, but their children and the absence of equitable relationships. Because women don't listen to other women in general. They don't. They don't listen to anybody. You know, uh, they won't even agree with the man that they chose. So that in itself is an indictment. And then, and because they don't, they can only be held accountable by their children. I'm only saying that in theory, and
They're
it's
not
not.
going to go by their children either.
Yeah, yeah. And by held accountable, I'm actually just talking about the issue being brought to them, being made aware. Now, whether they choose to change after it's been brought to them, that's something else. But if they don't want to change, then that's like that's really hit or miss, and that's kind of a good
I
segue into
don't
this.
feel comfortable with giving it away for free.
You should give it away for free. It don't. You ain't catering it for free. You ain't raising it for free. This thing costs. Massengill, soap, Vagisil. No, this thing costs. And you just gonna give it to somebody for free? Dinner, open up the door, trips, movies, pay some rent. I don't know, change the oil. Hell, go give me a down payment on a car.
But nowadays, even if it's monetary, oh, you a prostitute.
No, that ain't no prostitute. That's you knowing your worth. Give me a down payment on a car. I need a new car. I need something. My rent need to be paid. I'd like to buy me a house. Can you put in on that? I don't know. Donate some better favors than a hard. No, that's all you got to offer. Every other man over here got that same thing. What makes yours so special that I got to give me up for free?
Stop it. Stop it. Because she know that, like, that same box that she's sitting on, it's attached to more cooperative women. And this is where women fail their daughters, because they don't teach them the divine art of just existing. Because I'll tell you, I know I present very feminine because I am very feminine. And this is who I am all the time. And I have never had to posture like this to get anything. And I get lots of things there. And I don't have to. When a man sees value in you, he'll cover you. But if you start posturing yourself like a hoe, he's going to put a price tag on you. And the way that I look at this and the way that I caution women about this is, yes, you do have a standard about yourself and you do have to display that you have values, but that comes out in the way you live your day-to-day life. I'm a boundaries coach, and I have standard-based boundaries for the way that I live my life, which means the rules are the rules. I don't come out of my character for anything, for anyone. And if I feel myself about to come out of my character, I know that this is not a person I want to continue with, and I can decide whether or not I'm going to gift them my energy going forward. So if I decide to remove a person from my energy, I do so quietly and with a smile on my face. I'm not going to explain to you why you're disqualified. You just are. I'm going to take this energy. I'm going to move on to the more qualified. And I have had men here in Miami. They date different down here. They come on dates with gifts. Even my husband, before he had even slept with me, period, had even taken me on a date, he was interested in me. And I was having an issue with my car. And I needed a tire because I have a new car, but it just, I'm a girl. Okay. I'm not doing tires. I've never pumped gas in this car.
Yeah.
I barely drive it, but it's my dream car. I love it so much. But I'm like, I am here at Bell Tire and they telling me I need all this stuff. And he was like, chill out. Just where you at? Give me the address. All right, go back in your car. I'll call you in 10 minutes. This man had set an appointment for me to come back. Told the people I wasn't going to talk to them. I ain't know nothing. Paid for the tire. Had it installed. Bought me lunch before so that I wasn't sitting in there hungry. And I didn't have to posture myself like this. And it's not just because I'm so great. It's because he wanted to rescue me and he found me worthy. Why did he find me worthy? It's because I hold the standard myself. I didn't
Yeah.
wait for a man to become feminine. Men have nothing to do with my femininity. Absolutely nothing.
That is
Ain't for
very
them.
important to say. I
It
love
ain't for them.
that.
It's for me. So, you know,
Mhm.
what the man gets to benefit from the feminine energy I already carry. This is not um tit for tat, you know. And if I were to put a price tag on it, very few people would be able to afford it. So we're not even gonna play that game. We just gonna show up reciprocally. I'm gonna show you my value. I'm not gonna have my hand out and be acting all crazy. Fact of the matter is, I could have paid for the tire myself. It was the gesture of him calling to cover me from over 2,000 miles away from me. this is
Right.
this is a man who had never even slept with me. He hadn't even had the chance to smell it, but he saw that I had value and he knew that he wanted me to be his wife. So he took care of me. And now I am his wife. So
Good.
and I get all the benefits. I don't have to tell him to pay a bill or change the oil or do anything. He just does it. I don't know how much anything costs. He just does it. And I just hate to hear women posture themselves as hoes when they're so much more valuable than just the pussy they sit on.
Yeah.
I can talk about this all day, but I'm just going to get off my soapbox. This is disgusting.
Yeah. Hey, look, this is what we see, you know, and these are the things that have to be discussed, because when you see women talk about men in a utility capacity, like this right here, they're teaching their daughters that men are only for utility. It is
Right.
almost no different than how you see people talk about migrant workers. You get them to do everything that you don't want to do. His value is this. If he don't agree, he's sassy. He's something's wrong with him. You know what I'm saying? He's feminine.
Who hurt you?
Yeah, who hurt you? Your mama black. and this is the behavior that a lot of men get raised with, that cause them to date outside of their race.
Well, when they go outside their race, it's not no better.
No, and that's not even the point.
Because this is so they're running into the inferno, because it seems like it's just a black issue. Now,
But it's not.
have a TikTok page. It's Boundaries Bestie at TikTok, and I've been posting videos about emotionally immature mothers, just really sticking it to them extremely hard, because I see them as the source of most of the issues, especially with Black women, especially with the women that I coach. They have been hurt, they have been brutalized by their mothers first, and they're overly accepting of things that they shouldn't be, because their mothers, like I was describing earlier with the young man, like a perforated sheet of paper, the mothers have pre-abused them. So they've been primed to be taken advantage of by these fuck boys, for lack of a better word, because their mothers have already pre-brutalized them. You know what I mean? And so I've been sticking it to them, and I've been looking in the comments, white, Black, Italian, Puerto Rican, Spanish. When you get finished, go on there and look through those comments. And when I say on 2 videos, we're talking about over 1,000 comments.
Yeah, you talking about on TikTok, right?
Yeah, been played collectively 30,000 times over the last 2 days. 2 videos talking about emotionally immature mothers and the wounds that they inflict. It just transcends race. This is all women not wanting to be held accountable. And if any woman is not going to be held accountable, I promise you, as a white woman, but we're not even going to have that conversation. You know, I would love to hear from a lot of white daughters from the perspective that I wrote my book, generationally passed down mother wounds. Because if you think about whiteness and what people think about the proximity to whiteness, is that it's going to be better, it's going to be great, it's going to be so wonderful. And a lot of us were raised thinking that if we had white mothers, then everything would be one. These people were terrorized by their mamas too. And I'm glad that I wrote my book from a Black woman's perspective generationally, but I would love to hear how a white woman feels about holding her mother accountable. Because you were mentioning it, you touched on it a little bit earlier when you said, well, they're getting it from their children. Well, they aren't. And, you know, when Kevin Samuels was real big and people would be like, women don't act like that. I don't know what they mean. And then he'd release the sign language.
Shame, insults, guilt, need to be right.
Need to be right. And I was like, I'd be damned if he not describing my mama.
Mm-hmm.
So as much as I'm listening to it, I'm like, oh, this ain't, what is he talking about? I'd be damned if he was not describing my mother.
Yep.
Because when I came to her and I said, this experience hurt me, oh, well, I was a teenage mom.
Blew it
I
up.
did the best I could, dismissing it. Oh, well, you weren't perfect either. Insults. Oh, well, what about me? I guess I'm just a terrible mother. Guilt. Well, I did. You turned out all right. The need to be right. In every single argument. So I couldn't even say, oh, when he crazy. Women don't show up like that, because I was looking at the woman who birthed me, attempting to hold her accountable. And she was telling me basically, fuck you. You know what I mean? I did what I did and you're not going to hold me. She told me, you are not going to hold me accountable.
Yeah.
So I ended our relationship. And I had the power that I took the strength in myself to do what a lot of Black people do not have. And they leave the matriarchal line.
Yeah.
I'm done. I'm done. I am the first housewife in my family's history. I was born of my great grandmother ran her husband. My grandmother didn't have no husband. My mother ran her husband off. So I'm coming from all of these generations of single motherhood, breaking the cycle. I don't have time for that. So, when you say that they are taking accountability, they are absolutely not.
Mm-hmm. Man, look, shout out to my man Rice D, some great content creator. One of the best as I've seen. Got a nice little following. You guys go check him out too on Facebook. But I love the fact that you highlighted that, because I've talked at distance, at length, about what it takes to make people see where they're wrong, and you hope that the other person wants that connection, but the truth is they're more connected to their trauma than they are to a positive situation with you.
Yep.
They would rather have their trauma in a relation. They rather be in a relationship with their trauma than be in a relationship with their children. And that is a hard sell. And then the next thing they do is a deflection. And then when you think about it, when you were growing up, you just thought that that's the way it was.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look at the type of life you have to lead in this era of accountability, when I say not era, but era of technology creates accountability. There's a footprint, there's a screenshot that goes with everything. There's an email, there's a paper trail. There's a lot of connectivity between you and whoever else. So you got to be careful who you talk to. Whereas before, you can kind of discard people. You can compartmentalize a whole lot differently because there's no paper trail behind everything until that side family pulls up at the funeral, or somebody saw you at somebody else's house one night and confirm some kind of suspicions or whatever. All of these skeletons start coming out of the closet, and then the women have been deflecting onto the men for ages, because I think Black men get blamed for too much. Because how is it possible that we don't own anything but get blamed for everything?
Well, because you're not there. Because you don't own anything, you get blamed for everything. And look at it societally. Black people, what do we own? 0.1% of this country's wealth. We get blamed for everything.
Yep.
The prison is full of us. We are less than 13% of the population. How are we anywhere near the numbers we represent in prison? Because if you're not there, if you're not financially represented, politically represented in this country, then you get the shit into the stick, and that is the way that it works. I think that Black people do themselves an injustice focusing so deeply on relationship issues when we really should look at this thing more globally. We own 0.1% of this country's wealth, and if you don't believe it, look it up. And it may be less than that. And we are the most, we spend the most, but we have the less rights. And it just really doesn't make any sense from a capitalistic standpoint until you look at it and say the people who are well represented financially are the least of these in the prisons. How many Asians do you see in the prison system? How many Arab people do you see in the prison system? Okay, now go back and look and see how much of our country they own. And that'll make sense. It'd be you. Yes, the daddy get blamed in the house because he wasn't there. And you get scapegoated because my mother would say, how are you blaming the parent who stayed?
I hate that.
Because you were here.
Man, Please talk about that. Like, because I know what I say about it, but I would love to hear about the parent that stayed theory, because I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I would love for you to break that down.
It positions them above reproach. But here is where you have to accept accountability at. Social learning theory. The child learns from the mother. The mother is the first teacher of the child. And that means emotional regulation too. So if you grew up with a mother who was wild, out the way, acting crazy, she still brutalized you, though she was the parent who stayed. And this justification sounds a lot like a kidnapper who says, well, at least I fed you and I kept you alive. I was in captivity. No, you're overlooking. Why are you focused on the small shit? No. This child has been raised in captivity because a lot of us have been held. We've been passed down our generational trauma, which is why the name of my book is called Mothered by Survival, unpacking the legacy of generationally immature mothers. Social learning theory says if your grandma couldn't cook and she taught your mom to cook, now your mama can't cook and she taught you, chances are you can't cook. So yes, you were the parent that stayed. So does that mean that you don't hold any accountability for the recipes you passed down? Yes, you were the parent who stayed, but that does not mean that you got licensed to abuse your children. Yes, you were the parent who stayed, and I'm sorry that you didn't have more help, but it does not remove accountability, because that child has the right to say, my childhood and my upbringing was abysmal. You did a terrible job. I'm still healing from much of what you did to me today. And if Black women were honest with themselves, all of this hyper independence, I got to do it myself, that is classic older daughter parentified behaviors. If a woman feels like she can't listen to a man and she can't relax, and I'm not going to let no man come in and say nothing to me because I can do it on my own. That was a woman who was once a daughter who nobody helped. She had to do it on her own. She had to babysit her younger siblings and understand, because mama was the parent who stayed and she did her best, but her best was not good enough. I ask in my book, what happens when mom's best broke us? What happened when your best really broke me? That was all I had. But it broke me anyway. So who's supposed to be held accountable for that? Should I be going talking to him and saying, hey, Dad, you left me with this wild motherfucker. I see why you left her. You know how she was cutting up your clothes? She was tearing the stuff out of my dressers too. Emotionally violent women who don't want to be held accountable. That's what you are. That's what you sound like when you pull out, well, I was the parent that stayed and y'all always hold us to a higher degree. No, we didn't hold you to a higher degree, but we're judging you based on the job you did, and it was piss poor awful. If you went to school and you slept through all of your classes, would you still want credit just because you were there? Or would you be expecting somebody to look at your track record and say, hey, she ain't do no damn work. She was here, but she didn't do shit. So do we still give you the cap and gown, Mom? Do we still give you the Hallmark card, Mom? Because I can assure you that when that child went and bought that Hallmark card, she had to swallow so much hate, pain, frustration, and agitation for your ass to even pick that card up, to write her name on it, knowing that the words printed on the inside are a lie. Who does she speak with? Is there a higher up that she should speak with? Who? Who does the young boy speak to about the fact that he now feels responsible for his mother? Now he married and his mama and his wife on the same level because he never really learned how to separate the two. Emotional incest made her son husband. Emotional incest made your daughter your counselor, your therapist, your everything. Who is she supposed to go to complain about this? Or should she say nothing because you feel like you got a raw deal? There are 5 days a month when we can get pregnant. 5. If you're lucky, because not a lot of women function like that. You got 5 days a month. And I coach my women like this raw. When you're ovulating, if you're not married, stay in the fucking house. Especially if you don't want to hold accountability for anything. Put that little coochie on ice. Know that you're going to be like a wild, unchained primate for 48 hours. Hold responsibility for that. Don't make any people if you don't want to be held accountable. It is what it is. This is a hill I can stay on forever. I know I done probably pissed some people off. It's fine.
No, you in the right place. Hang on, get your round of. Hey, I'm gonna keep you up here on the hot seat for a second. Let me throw. I'm finna throw another question up there. You're gonna see it come up on the screen. All right.
All right, let's see.
I took this from you, and yeah. Break this down for me.
Okay, so I have Dr. Bryant. She's being proverbially, she's holding herself hostage. She says she wants this man. She says she wants all of these things. She wants all of this stuff. But when you try to hold her accountable to what she's actually doing, she deflecting, she's running. They would rather you hold them physically hostage than hold them accountable. I have seen women deflect to excuses that make absolutely no logical sense. None. There is no logic in the room, but they are full chested. This is what they're saying, and they're saying it like it's so matter of fact. They would rather be held hostage if you'll let them hold on to their delusions. If you will let them hold on to the fact that I can be a strong, independent woman in my marriage. The man gonna do what I tell him to do, and if he don't do what I tell him to do, then it is what it is, and I can go on 9-10 dates with him and not have sex, and I can do all the delusion. And when you try to tell them, all of a sudden you will pick me, which is why I'm like, I'm gonna leave you with that. I'm gonna leave you with that, because at this point there are people actually giving up on women because they're fighting so hard not to be held accountable that they're making nonsensical arguments. They are emotionally erratic, and it doesn't even seem fair, you know, for a woman who has been through what they're in, for me to keep saying, oh, it's something wrong with you. No, I know what's wrong with you. You have not had a safe place to unload that. You don't believe that love exists. You have seen terrible marriages because your mother couldn't pick a man worth shit. So you can't pick a man worth shit. That's taught. It's all passed down. This is game passed down. And until I can get a woman to sit in that, how we were talking about before, hey, Tiff, what did you do to get these relationships? Okay, so this is what I did. I was looking for a man to choose me so desperately that I say I'm a stay. And if I could get him to pick me, then that just means that I did something right. Now I have to hold accountability for that, because I was looking for him to validate what my father should have validated. I have to hold accountability for that. I chose the wrong man, and I tried to change him because I felt like that would be a bigger chip on my shoulder. My ego was in the driver's seat. It wasn't in the trunk where it should be. I got to hold accountability for that. But how many women do you actually see step up to that? They would rather blame the man. And I'm not saying it's not men out here that are terrible. Trust me, I've seen the dating pool, but I've still gotten married in it too. It's about what you choose. It's about being accountable and choosing something different. But if we can't hold you accountable, then I can't get you to choose differently, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Look, you came here to cook today. And look, let me pull up another video and get you on the next evaluation, because I always have some videos that I think will be very useful to the conversation. You said picking a man, right? And men are giving up. Mm-hmm. Watch this.
When I walked in, it was packed. And what do you think I saw? What do you think I saw?
What did you see?
Exactly what I thought I was going to see.
What?
80 women sitting alone. No men in sight. None.
I saw so many Black women try to solve a problem in dating by starting to host events in person, trying to create third spaces to facilitate dating like offline. And you know what would happen every single time? The men were not signing up. They would be selling tickets to speed dating, and they would always end up with men's tickets on sale. Always, because they weren't buying any. Just the other day, a big account that I follow for Black creatives did like this Cupid thing where they were like, hey, send us a profile about yourself and we would love to post it and like play matchmaker. Sounds like a cute idea, right? Not one single man sent their profile in. And mind you, this is an account that has well over 100,000 followers. It's just time to stop. It's time to stop. They have made it very loud and clear that they do not
singles event, and here's why I think we're doomed to be single for the rest of our lives. That was a bit dramatic, but let me tell my story. So I went to singles night at Union Church's Charlotte campus. Now, I don't go to that church, but I started following Pastor Stephen since he was a guest pastor at my church earlier this month. And when I found out that he was writing a book on dating and relationships, I was interested because, listen, your girl could use some divine intervention in that area. But I'll be honest, I didn't want to go at first. I figured it's a Christian singles event. There's going to be 50, 11 women there and like 2 men. Plus, they were advertising it as a conversation that you wouldn't expect to have at church. And I thought, I've heard enough of those modern dating and relationship podcasts. I don't need to hear any more, especially not with a biblical spin. Instead of having meaningful conversations about finding and building Christ-centered relationships,
we just left the event. So I think we were just saying that we think that we've actually hit rock bottom.
No, it was actually.
We think we've actually hit rock bottom, and I think we were either punked, catfished,
like
or
it felt like a sick joke.
And my spirit, while I was there, my spirit told me, no mas, por favor. I am not going to no more of these, okay? That rhymed, period. I'm not going to anymore, and here's why. So that singles event was cool because they actually had a mix and mingle session at the end where they put us in a very cool atmosphere for people to talk and meet with each other. Although there was like 3 men there and 300 women, I loved the fact that they did that. I thought that was really cool. But my thing is, you go to one single event, you go to them all. They got the same message, and I'm going to tell y'all what they be saying so that you can know ahead of time. If you feel like you're called to go, go. If you feel like the Lord is telling you to go, go. If you've never been, go. If you want to mix and mingle with other single people, go. But let me tell you, this is going to be the singles conference starter pack. I'm going to tell you what you're going to get. Okay?
I'm going to get hate for this, but whatever. I approached a black man this week at like a dating event, and he was not interested in me, and that by itself is like not a great story, right? I tried to shoot my shot, he was not interested, I moved on. But immediately after I walked away from this man, he went up to a group of 5 white women and he introduced himself to all of them. And then I kind of observed out of like the corner of my eye for the rest of the evening, this man was only going up and talking to different white women. Later that night, another very attractive black man came in, the exact same thing, only talked to the white women that were in the room. There were maybe 6 or 7 black women throughout. And I could tell, I would look over at the black women occasionally, they would be looking, we would all be observing the same thing. We're all thinking the same thing, right? And as someone who has reviewed a bunch of different like dating events, I have seen this play out so many times where you walk into a room, the black women are looking for other black men and the black men are not looking for black women. Unless the host of the event is like a black person or a person of color. And as much as I say that I am going to start dating outside my race, my mind, whenever I walk into like...
Heavenly Father, we are gathered here today because we still don't want to take accountability. We're going to put it on Jesus. If you're called to, if your spirit said, what are we talking about this emotional bullshit for? Okay, I'm going to tell you how you're going to get your man. And I usually do not do this, but I'm going to give it to you, okay?
I'm gonna put you up on the solo.
Please do.
And then when you get to that point, I'm gonna throw up a question for the hot seat for this particular set of videos, and I'm gonna let you cook. All right?
Okay. Stop going to single events. Don't go to no more single events. Don't go. I don't care who hosting it. I don't care if the church is hosting it or what. I caution women against going to these events for various reasons. But the number one reason I'll give you is because women talk too motherfucking much. And we have already poisoned the well. We've told men we want our soft life. We want you to retire us. We want to do all of these different things. So now that the man has the playbook, because we told them, right? So many different women have told them. They have the playbook. They know exactly how to pretend. They know who to fake it and be. And I just did an entire day of content for my group. How to avoid the nice guy. Because women who go to these things are easily duped and very game goofy. They don't know how to send choosing signals. So the next step is to go the fuck outside in your real life. In your real life. You meet men everywhere. That's one of the questions that I've always gotten. Where do you meet high quality men? everywhere. I could go to Publix right now and come out. The men would just be falling all over themselves. And I tell them, I have to tell men all the time, there's nothing wrong with you, but I have a husband and I wouldn't trade him for $1 million. I love this man. So I'm shooting men down. Go outside, and don't go outside looking crazy. Go outside dressed. Get dressed to run your errands, get dressed to go outside. Feel yourself. Feel happy. Men are attracted to happy women. But if you here at the place and you studying the look to see what he do, you're judging a man and you don't even fucking know. You sound like a blast to be around. You sound like a blast. I need us to start thinking about that. Number one, stop talking so much. When you meet a man, ask him open-ended questions. Don't lead him into the answer. Don't tell him what he gonna do because I need to be dated. He's taking note of that. He'll get the pussy and then he'll leave you alone just to stick it to you. Stop telling him so much. Go outside and be pleasing. Listen for the answers that you're getting. And when you hear something that's off, when you see the red flags, stop decorating with the motherfuckers. Just because you can convert a man who was a street dude. I know all these women have this idea in their mind of this reformed street guy turned deacon. I need you to turn off Tyler Perry and really get practical about finding a man. If you want a certain type of man, the first question you need to ask yourself is, what does that man want? If you were a fisher woman or a huntress, I would tell you to study your prey. You need to know where they are. You need to know what they need. You need to know what they want. You need to know what they're looking for and stop challenging them. If they say that I need you to be a certain size, weight, shape, height, sound a certain way, smell a certain way, it's not up to you to argue with that. If you don't think you can show up like that, then that's not the man that you want. But knowing what the fish that you wants is key. Number two, go to the right fucking places. I would not be at the catfish pond hoping to snag a marlin. I'm going to go where the sport fish are if I want a sport fish. But what I'm not going to do is look at the catfish and say, oh, you just not good enough because you just the catfish and you're the problem when I'm standing in the wrong spot. Number three, do not go to church looking for no man. Then the men not in there. The men are not in there. And if you find one in there, trust me, he's getting more ass than the pews. And I'm telling you this. Just real. This is real. This is girl talk here. Pretend that there are no men listening. I'm giving you the advice that a big sister should have given you. Stop complaining about the options and move the fuck around. Because I promise you, there are men out here. They're not wrapped up in this social media stuff. They're not doing no 50-50 stuff. My husband don't even have social media, but he barely on it. He not thinking about no 50-50 conversation. When I asked him what he expected me to bring to the table, this man told me manners. He said table manners. That's it. It's not that difficult. It's not because I'm so special. I know what my fish wants. I became what my fish wanted, so I got hooked. This is it's really simpler than you're making it. And these people are making money off of you hosting events when all you have to do is these things. You don't need no matchmaker. If you need to lose some weight, be real with yourself. Lose the weight. If all that's coming up to you is dusties because you're a size 12, 13, lose the weight. I guarantee you the dusties will look past you. I don't have dusties coming after me. They know they can't afford me. And it's not because I'm saying you can't afford me. They see the way that I carry myself. My confidence is high. You cannot run game on me. I need y'all to start posturing yourself like that because this is ridiculous. It's silly. And it makes us look silly, collectively as women. I'm ready for the question for the hot seat. I'm almost scared to see what you're going to put up here.
Okay. All right.
I'm almost scared.
No, this ain't nothing that you can't handle. Is it male loneliness or are women projecting their loneliness onto men?
I think it's a bit of both. I think that there are men who are lonely because women make it really difficult to date. with their expectations, and sometimes men's expectations makes it difficult to date. So I'm not going to say it's not that. I think both people are lonely. I don't think it's one more than the other. I think the men are lonely. I think the women are lonely. But I think that what keeps them separated is all of these strange expectations and all of these weird ideas that, like Dr. Bryant, well, he's not emotionally mature enough, but I'm gonna fuck him anyway. And we're just gonna see where it goes and figure it out. And then we're surprised when it doesn't go anywhere. We have to be accountable here. And I do think that women are lonely, so they settle, because what she's doing is settling, right? We would admit that a woman like Dr. Bryant is beautiful and educated. So she should really be able to have her pick of man, right? She's feminine, she's soft-spoken, she's accomplished, she's bright. Why is she single? It's because she's settling. So I think we have both sexes settling in their singleness.
Gotcha. Okay. I can accept that. That's
good. I hope so.
Conversation. Yeah, that was
on the hot seat.
Yeah, you did well with that, because there's so many conversations that are, I think that there's a social media answer and then there's a touch grass answer. On social media, like we just saw that compilation of videos, it shows that women are the loneliest on social media in terms of like the way
they're the ones complaining about it. And
yeah, they're the ones that's vocal about it. And so then
let me ask you a question. Excuse
me,
ahead. Because you're a man. Go ahead. Do you think that women are just now catching up to where men are? Like the level of disappointment of being in that cycle of expectation and disappointment. I know a lot of men who went through that in the early 2000s, maybe up till about maybe 10 years ago. But now men seem so disillusioned and they seem like they're ready to just withdraw from the system because they know they can come and talk a good game, get easy cooch. Women would have sex with you before they'll make you a meal. So sex is not, men used to have to get into relationships to get sex. So do you think that because sex is more plentiful, men aren't necessarily complaining about the loneliness because they were in relationships functionally just to get the sex? Or like, what do you think? What do you think it is?
I definitely think that the short answer is women will make a baby with the wrong man before they make a sandwich for the right one. So there's no shortage of sex. And on top of that, the activities that women congregate around, it's like you described in your your speaking moment not too long ago, where men can spot a certain type of behavior and still have sex with you and move on because we know how to get what we want. We know how to pick our spots, and I definitely believe that women have switched places in terms of experiencing the disappointment because I think they're experiencing now what I would say is a period of abstinence that men had to experience in the front side. So men and women experience a level of abstinence on the front side in the back side of their youth, right? Mm-hmm. When between the ages, let's just take men and women between the ages of 18 to 25. Women get all of the attention in that age bracket from up and down the spectrum of men. You got men from age 60 all the way down hitting on you. You know what I'm saying? And they can have the option of men with resources and men without, and so the men in that same age bracket between 18 and 25, they get to experience rejection. Nobody's told no more than men. Okay. We get told no the first 25 years of our life. We have to earn everything. It's commonly understood that you just can't give a boy anything. He has to earn everything he does. He has to start learning how to make money. Why we understand that with boys and apply it with them so strictly and not to girls is crazy. And that's part of the disconnect between us learning each other in terms of that language.
Well, I think that women do teach this to girls, but what you're seeing is a result of women teaching this to girls. Nobody's coming to give you anything. Nothing is going to be made easy for you. You can't have the voice that a lot of women speak with is their mothers. Their internal voice, their internal processing, the way that they criticize themselves, that belongs to their mom. So you know how you just said we have to make the boys earn it. There are women who raise their daughters by the adage, I would rather raise a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. They're preparing us for all of the hardship and all of the heartbreak and everything they went through and all of this shit. So we don't have anything when we leave the house but fear.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I grew up in a hair salon. I learned nothing about men, nothing practical, nothing useful. Everything that I learned was a lie. Everything that I heard from these women who were 50, 60, 70, 80 years old. I mean, in the hair salon, you see everybody. Everything was a lie. That's why they think that men, all they want is sex and a sandwich. And now they're becoming femcells.
Yep.
They're becoming femcells.
Nobody wants to talk about that part either. I'm gonna let you talk about the femcell part, but
let's talk about it. Let's talk about how they're dying by themselves. Let's talk about how they're becoming burdens on their children. Because now, like we talked about with the health, now your body falling apart. And instead of you marrying Mr. Lester with the good pension, he was a mechanic at the plant, but he had a good old pension and great insurance. Instead of you setting yourself up in a logical way, having somebody whose ass you can wipe and who can wipe your ass, now you're a burden on your kids. Now it's up to your oldest daughter to take care of you. Now somebody got to come pay your rent, because if we're talking about a capitalist society that was not created for all the single people that we have. This is not, you should just pick a man and settle and get married. It's not settling to have somebody to grow old with. It's not settling to have somebody to wipe your ass when you need your ass wiped. It's not settling. And I don't know why women think that. But you get old, and now you're 55, 65 years old, trying to get this old cougar coochie to some 45-year-old boy. You're hoping for a Dr. Bryant situation later in your life. My advice to you would be the same advice that I wish somebody would have given my mother when she was young and fine. Settle down while the iron is hot. Strike while the iron is hot. Other races of women are collecting that because they know I don't make enough money to get to the end of my life by myself. And even if this isn't for love, they're marrying for survival. We're not even doing that. And I think that it is harmful. You're not going to get everything you want. This is not a Tyler Perry. This is not Disney. I want you to discard that shit. You're going to stay single for the rest of your life if you're waiting on all your ducks to get in a row. Sometimes your ducks might be in a circle. As long as they are crossing the street, cross well. I'm telling you, because I've seen it. I've been behind the chair as a stylist. I grew up in the hair salon, and it is not fun trying to go get your hair done when you can't pull your pants up by yourself no more. That happens. And if your husband didn't come and bring you to the hair salon, then you got to be at the mercy of a stranger. I've been a CNA. Yeah, your kids might come visit you, but you're still in the home instead of being in your home with the family that you cultivated. Do not buy this lie of strong independence. They sold you that shit so that they could tax you. This is about your money. It's not about your freedom, because if this was about your freedom, they would not treat you like shit at work. Black women have a higher rate of being harmed at their jobs than any other race of women. Any other race of women. I myself have experienced sexual harassment and discrimination at a job in a company that was run primarily by women. So we can't even say that, it's just the man's influence. We really, really need each other. We really need each other. And in this time frame, in this economy, you better get with somebody that you can be with. You don't meet all my boxes, but 6 out of 10 ain't bad. We can work on the rest. Sign your name right here. Let's do this. Because that is what I'm seeing, these women decaying. They are decaying. And more than that, they are a burden on their children. Children that they didn't even bother to fucking excuse my language. They didn't even bother to raise them. These are the same people who jumping on their daughters and putting their daughters out. These are the same people who telling all their daughter business. She come on her period, everybody know, violating her constantly. We expecting women who've been violated consistently by their mothers to be ready for relationships. Like, we need to have a deeper conversation. We got to take a step back. We really do. And social media is really rotting things out because a lot of us didn't see fathers in our homes and we want to do better than our moms. So it's like, well, let me just apply these unrealistic standards, and they wind up alone.
Well, I'm just going to keep you up there for a second. Hang on a second. Because I want to keep the smoke smoking, because you're
going to have people all in my emails, all in my inbox. It's all right. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
Question. Who is protecting women from women?
Nobody.
What is that? What does that question mean to you?
Okay, so woman on woman violence. Have you heard the post going around on Facebook that said, would you rather have a black female manager or a white manager?
Yep.
Give me the white male manager. I'm one of those. And I'm not saying it because I hate black women. I'm saying 4 times I've counted. I've gone into corporate structured career sales places where I've worked my way up, and now I've worked my way up and I'm here with you. And now we're like the token black girls. I have never been hazed so hard than when I was trying to acclimate into woman only spaces. Even at church, I was joining the choir and had old hoes in the choir hazing me. You 172 years old. Let it go. Let it go. What is this? What is this obsession to be better than, to be chosen over? What is that? We can't even hold our mothers accountable. So how do we hold each other accountable? Women are out here operating in their friendships in the same way they operate in relationships. You can't even hold your friends accountable. No one. Black women are underprotected from the womb to the tomb, and that comes from our mamas too. They want to make the mother, the black mother, exempt. They don't want to talk about that in our hero or our villain origin story. They'll say, oh, this woman is strong, independent, don't want to hear nothing nobody got to say. But then you look at the lineage of woman who raised her, and they strong, independent, and don't want to hear shit nobody got to say. Okay, well, social learning theory says that the only tools that this woman could have gotten came from this broken woman who refused to heal. And we can't even hold Big Mama accountable. That's mama. What she say go. Nobody is protecting black women from black women.
Whew.
Nobody. Until we can hold each other accountable and look at you and say, hey, this is inappropriate. Nobody is protecting black women, and nobody is protecting black children. No one. Now, I shared with you a little bit about what happened in my first marriage, but after that ended, I had people from the church, within the church, women in the church, mothers who had children in the church, unfriending me on social media, blocking me, and telling me that my love had conditions. This man was charged for crimes against children. What do you mean my love had conditions? Conditions that you wouldn't violate a child? A woman told me that. A man didn't say, oh, you were supposed to have stayed, because I found out and listed my house within 48 hours and was living in Miami within 6 weeks. And there are people on social media are like, oh my God, did she stay? Oh my God, did she stay? I stayed for 48 hours. Sold my house, paid my dream car off, and moved. Because I believe the actions of the woman matter. So let's talk about that really quickly, because we're talking about who is protecting black women from black women. One of the ways that black women can protect other women and girls is by the way that they carry themselves and the things that they allow. Now, I want you to understand that I left him before there were charges filed. There was a whisper on the wind, and I was like, call the realtor. because, I don't mess around with stuff like that. I believe that after a child has come out and said, this has happened to me, the actions of the adults around them matter so much, almost as much as that first declarative, this happened to me statement. Now, if those children would have said, this happened to me, and I was standing by my man like Tammy Wynette, going to court with him, sitting behind them, what does that say to those Black girls who were victimized by him? What does that say to them? There's something wrong with me. I shouldn't have told. Maybe she doesn't believe me. The actions of the people around you matter. They matter. And knowing all that, I still had Black women, elder Black women, telling me that there was something wrong with my response. And this is just when I thought it was one victim. There are 5.
Ooh.
And that has come out in the news. So anybody thinking I'm slandering him, I am not. I still have not spoken about this on my own page because, I have to think about the ramifications of that information. I was a homemaker, and there are people waiting to say, oh, look, this is why men don't deserve anything. This is why you don't give them nothing, because they get something and this is what they do. And I've had women make videos about me, Black women, again, on TikTok, making videos about me because of what he did. Black women. So who is protecting Black women from Black women? Even Black women like me who ride for Black women. I had women asking me, how do I become a better housewife? And I started asking them questions to find out what were their blocks emotionally, mentally, physically. How do you feel? And I'm asking this question for the first time in a lot of their lives. These are Black women. Who was protecting them? And why are they coming to me asking to be softer for a man who's brutalizing them? Where'd they get that from? They got it from their moms because they thought if I could just love my mother a little bit deeper, if I could just be a little bit better. Who was protecting that young Black woman from the Black mother that raised her?
Oh, man.
Nobody. And we expect these women to be soft and feminine. Tell me again how you want her to be soft and feminine and submissive when she has never felt safe in her skin. I ride for Black women. I gave them a boundaries course and not a housewife course. But you have people creating content about me. Oh, she's a grifter. She's stealing. And I've been doing this since 2022. I ain't never had a chargeback. So, just anything, just making up anything. Who protects Black women from Black women? Nobody.
Ooh-wee. Come on, man. You smoking this right now.
No.
Oh, man.
I
got one more. I want to know what your opinion is on this subject right here coming up.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. Here we go. What are your thoughts on victim blaming?
Is it victim? I do think that sometimes people blame the victims, but most of the time when you hear, people say, oh, that's victim blaming. This is a person not wanting to be held accountable. That's what I hear. I mean, if she's saying this person took advantage of me and I was a child and they groomed me, you can't even calculate the ramifications of being groomed as a young woman. So I don't believe in blaming the woman. I believe in looking at the causation of a thing. And I'm saying this from a person who believes in looking at the causation and fixing the actual problem. I think that a lot of times when women are accusing men, especially Black men, of victim blaming, is because they're holding them accountable. My mother has accused me of victim blaming. I've been called a victim blamer because I'm supposed to understand that she was a 16-year-old parent and she didn't have what she needed. And I'm supposed to understand. And since I hold her accountable, now I'm blaming her because I'm like, well, nobody told you to go and fuck. Nobody told you to find love on your back. But that statement from me to her is victim blaming. It's true, but she says that it's victim blaming. It keeps her in a space where she's able to run from accountability. So, I look at it situationally. Sometimes I do think people do it, but most of the time when people complain about it, it's because there's some accountability involved and they don't want that.
Okay. All right, I like that. Let's see. That's kind of like the segue into the question I want to ask right here.
Uh-oh.
Do you believe women groom children more, or do you believe men groom women more?
I think that women groom children more.
Okay. Gotcha.
I've been groomed by my mother. So
Yeah.
and I don't know a woman who has not been groomed, especially a woman who says, I did not like the experience with my mother. I had a bad experience with my mother. The next sentence out of their mouth is, but she did the best she could. And I know that she did the best. That's grooming.
Look, that video we watched where that mom was sitting on the couch telling her daughter what she needed to get out of men. I was like, that's grooming.
It's misinforming her.
It is.
Her fear. She goes out into the world with the entitlement and the assumption that a man is going to pay her and that her pussy is just so great that that's the only thing that she has to bring to the table and everything is going to be fine. But what about when that woman meets a man and she actually wants to get along with him and she's so emotionally dysregulated that when he complains about something, she's flying off the handle. If he makes one small critique, then he's the devil and there's something wrong with him. She can find a man and be so in love with him, but can't open her heart to him because of that grooming. It's so much more damaging than, oh, well, now you're looking at a man for a meal ticket, because you and I both know when she get out there on that sexual marketplace, she's not going to get what she's looking for. The most she's going to get is tossed in the back seat and a cheeseburger, especially if you're posturing yourself like that. Because women who focus on what a man can do are easily fooled by a man's promises. The man doesn't have to give you any money. If he just show the money, if he pretends like he have it, then she'll have the sex and she'll assume that he's going to give her the money. There are a lot of women operating like that, and you can't unfuck them. So I'm not understanding why you would even tangible assets being wasted on a promise. Okay. Just because, and that's what it does. So these women wind up getting eaten alive, blaming the men, but they're operating on the presets that their mothers gave them.
Yep.
Oh, she's pretty. Let's see what she's about to say.
Yeah.
I know that's a big pill, a hard truth, but lack of discipline makes you ugly. I know that's a big pill, a hard truth. But I had listened to this really good podcast episode. It's funny, but it's real and raw about this exact thing. A lack of discipline makes you ugly. And he breaks it down into two buckets, and how others see you and how you see yourself. And when it pertains to how others see you, at the end of all this, it really boils down to respect and confidence, right? More respect, more confidence equals more attractiveness. And there's really no way around building confidence but to go through hard stuff. And I talked about this in my other video. You have to choose your heart. Like, there's no way around it. But he uses the example of having a nice body or being really fit. And he said that is one of the biggest silent flexes, because it shows that by going to the gym, you have discipline, you know how to value consistency, you can do hard things, you can do things even when you don't feel like it. And it just shows like you really care about yourself and you do it through discipline. And he compared it to having a Rolex, right? Having a Rolex on your wrist doesn't necessarily garner respect, but it lets people know you have a lot of money, but that's not the same thing. Respect is earned. And so when people see that you have a nice body and that you're in the gym every day, it means that you hold yourself to a high regard, so they also will hold you subconsciously in a high regard as well. Essentially, people will assess you based on your habits with yourself. This could be your relationship with food. This could be how many times they see you choose comfort over your goals or the things that you need to do. And this is the same with achievements, right? We see this all the time. The more achievements that you are perceived to have or that you have, the more respect is given to you. That's just kind of a societal norm. Now, when it comes to how you view yourself, of course, it again just goes back to respect and confidence. And a lot of this is really building self-trust. When you are disciplined in your goals, you build self-trust, you build confidence, you build the ability to do hard things. And at the core of that, when you build self-trust, when you know that you are reliable and you can do the hard things, you essentially become unstoppable. Like, your confidence is unwavering because you just have built such a good rapport with yourself that no one really can tell you much because you know you go and get it regardless. Discipline is a form of self-love, like to invest in yourself and to take care of yourself. And the more you invest in something, the more you care about it, the more you aren't just going to walk away or treat it like whatever, you know? Like, if I buy a nice couch, I want to make sure nothing spills on it, and it goes the same for yourself. And the last thing that he touched on was just emotions, right? And we always talk about this, but not letting your emotions dictate your actions, right? Keeping those promises to yourself, and remaining disciplined no matter what your mood or your feelings are telling you that day. Once you realize that discipline and motivation are not the same, like, discipline does not require motivation. You cannot feel like doing something, but you still do it anyway. Again, the confidence in yourself and the self-trust becomes next level. So in all, it's a really good, fun episode. I'll put it in the comments. You definitely should go take a listen. Discipline is a form of self-love, and you really have to look yourself in the mirror and say, okay, how much do I value myself? And if you're telling me you really value yourself, then you better walk it like you talk it, and the proof better be in the pudding.
So it ain't a whole lot to say behind that, but
cook. It just, I mean, but that goes back to what we were just talking about. When you have it like that, you do not have to step into a room and make demands. It sounds silly and it sounds entitled, because you're not entitled to a person's resources because you have a coochie. Sell it then. you know what, and this is probably going to be controversial. You know who embodies this? An actual woman who is selling it. If you talk to a prostitute, they will tell you, we not doing this for free. This not coming up for free. We not doing this. They got rules. They got their guidelines. They have confidence. I'm not going to touch the self-respect aspect, because there are people who feel like spicy workers don't deserve respect or anything like that. It's a job. It's the oldest profession on the books, and I don't judge any woman for working. It just is what it is. This is what you do. I'm not judging it. I don't have space to, I have my own misgivings. But what she's saying makes a lot of sense, because it takes work to get there. But what I'm finding is a lot of work, especially from my contemporaries. They're using that energy that they could be using to fix themselves, complaining about what's not on the market, and complaining about who don't want to be with them, and complaining about their lack of options. And I don't know, if you're that great, why you have a lack of options. So I would reevaluate that. Am I as great as I think, or have I overinflated my price to the market? And anybody in sales will tell you, even if the product is good, if it costs too much, the average buyer won't buy it. And then you also have to take it a step further and think about men being risk versus reward. So if they're looking at it and they're like, it's coochie right here and it's coochie right here, but this coochie got some obstacles, and this coochie just want a cheeseburger, and I don't want to take either one of them seriously. I'm gonna go with the path of least resistance. But if I wanted a wife, then a wife would shine out higher than both of these women, the easy one or the demanding one. The wife will say, damn, I really want to deal with her because she ain't asked me for nothing, and I know she deserved it. And look at all these other men looking at her. Damn, she fine. Smile on her face. Look good. She ain't complained once. Happy. Those are the ones that get it. Those are the ones that get it. But in order for you to feel like that about yourself, we're talking about emotionally regulated, mature people. Because when my emotions were not regulated, I couldn't think about doing all of these different things. I would run my life with, I don't feel like, or I feel like, I don't feel like doing it, so I'm not going to do it. But at the place where I am now, running my coaching business, with the book out, 2 other projects coming out, my private group, I'm posting, I'll be candid with you. Last month, I recorded 470 videos last month, because I coach in my group, and they get 4 or 5 videos a day. I don't know who's in here, like from my group, because I can't see any comments or anything like that. But I can tell you they're getting, I'll choose a topic, marriage minded Mondays, talk about it Tuesdays. They're doing work on Wednesdays, triggered Thursdays, where I took 6 weeks, and every single Thursday for 6 weeks, we talked about what a trigger was, what it's not, how to deactivate that, how to say I'm uncomfortable, how to know when to leave conversations, really doing the deep emotional work. When a woman feels comfortable in saying this doesn't work for me without blowing up, then she can make better decisions than men. That's why I started here, and I'm not teaching them how to date. They're not ready for dating yet. It's like trying to explain astrophysics to a wino. They're not ready for dating yet because they're emotionally erratic. They're scared to death. They don't think they're going to get what they're looking for because they've been told that they're not worthy somewhere. So they're operating on that. They're not ready for this. They have to get emotionally regulated so that they can discipline themselves to go to the right places, how to pivot quickly in between this man is not right and this man is. It's so much work to do, and it's so much emotional work to do. And if women would stop posturing themselves like they have it all together already, then we could reach them to help them. And, you know, I, for one, am here to do that work one-on-one with them, just so they're ready to be in relationships, so they can choose better, so that they can focus on discipline over feelings. Because until they're regulated, their feelings are running the show.
Awesome, man. Like, I love the fact that that you've taken the approach that you have with your content, and I want to highlight your work up here on your TikTok page real quick and let you talk about where people can find you. This Boundaries Bestie.
Yes, this is where you guys can find me. I sit on here and I cut up all day long. Okay, I done had videos taken down, but I don't care because I talk about those things that people skip over and they try to act like they're okay about. So if you're setting boundaries, if you want to know what that is, if you want to know about standard-based boundaries, if you have an issue with your mother and you're going no contact and you need help with that, this channel, I'm telling you, just follow it, scroll through a couple of the comments, you'll find your tribe. We talk about mother wounds, we talk about parentification, we talk about the role of the woman, we talk about everything in here because it's my goal to get you to wholeness before you can be useful as a wife or a mother. It's my job to help you learn to reparent yourself so that you're whole and you can date the man that you actually want and not the one that your desperation said you needed. So you can find me here. You can find me on Facebook. I'm branching over to Substack. But if you follow my TikTok, I do have a link tree there. My website is there. You can book sessions with me. I'm available for private sessions. If you're interested in buying my book, you can also find it there on my link tree.
Oh man, that's good. I just put it up. Just dropped the link in the comments for your challenge stuff. Man, it's been great having you on the platform.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm glad that that you had time, and you know, I like the way that you take it seriously. But like, this is the example that it sets for this platform, is that it shows men that there are women out there that reflect the discipline, the mindset, that there's somebody out there that wants to compliment them and not compete with them, you know, and they don't have to pay attention to anyone that doesn't respect them, you know, because if they don't respect themselves, you're not going to get compliance or cooperation from anyone that fits that. And look, congratulations to you being a newlywed.
Thank you. Thank
you know, and just withstanding the hot seat, you know.
Thank you. It definitely got hot a couple of times, and you know, I'm definitely thinking that I'm probably gonna have a little hate mail, but it's okay. It's nothing that I haven't seen before. And if you do disagree with me, I welcome your opinions too. Please reach out to me. I'm not one of those people who are gonna be like, you know, one band, one sound. I do like pushback because I do find in those tenuous moments, we really find more connection than, you know, we thought we might find in those moments. So please reach out to me, even if you disagree with what I'm saying. If you think she sounds kind of crazy, I don't know what I'm talking about, please reach out. If you have a podcast, invite me on. We can definitely go back and forth. I am not afraid of a little bit of discourse. So, no, I definitely appreciate you having me on. I appreciate everybody being here, watching along. If you clicked my link, if you did any of that, thank you. You don't even have to act anymore. Your social currency means so much to me. But if you do want to go further, then you know where to find me.
Yep. Well, this has been another episode of Beyond the Algorithm, and I see you guys in the real world, because that's what life